Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. We are back. We are live, as promised. We are here. Going strong with music today. Oh, music's controversial on this channel at the moment. Someone wasn't very happy with Tales last night. And has called us a toxic community, everybody. So, you know. Anyway. Welcome. Today, we are on... we are on Militarum Monday. And as you know, I'm very excited for the Astra Militarum. I have got a lot to do for the Astra Militarum. There's a couple of kind of different facets to this, right? So today, there's a couple of there's a couple of things that we could do, but one of the things I think I'm leaning towards is actually finishing off our first kind of build of the Krieg infantry section. So we're going for units of 20 here for our Guardsmen. So we've got a unit of 20 Cadians that I am going to work on. Maybe not today, but we'll see what happens. I need to build 7 more Krieg in order to finish off the unit of 20. And there is a bit of a debate going on in my head about the loadout. Because the loadout suggests, right, that you can have upwards of 4 plasma guns in a unit. However, if you have a Vox operator, you can only have 3 plasma guns. However, the box only comes with 1. So, essentially, the debate I'm having in my head is whether I just kind of build it with 2 plasma guns and leave it there, or I pilfer one from another box. Good evening, Mr. Hipster. Just got my Dark Angels Battle Force box hobbying along with you. I love to hear that, James. That sounds great. How can you guard when there are new grots? Has something been previewed today? I haven't noticed. I haven't actually looked at Warcom today. Let's have a look at Warhammer community. Oh yeah. Boar gets Beast Grabbers, the next warband to plunder Emberguard. Oh, they're very pretty. Hi, Games Workshop. Please send me these. I'll paint them up. No one else will. I'm joking, of course. Jack, thank you very much for being a member for 38 months. Finally, over 3 years. Pedro Cantor to celebrate. Hope you're doing well, Josh. I'm doing very well, Jack. I hope you're doing very well. Now, here's the thing. We could do Pedro, but at this point, given this that 10th edition Warhammer 40k has been essentially a case of making old models bigger and plastic, do you want me to do the old one, or do you want me to wait and see if a new one comes? Because it honestly wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it happens. And I, you know, there does seem to be a general vibe of if I do paint one, then a plastic one turns up within 6 months' time. So maybe I'll see if I can find the time. Is this built from the Veteran Guardsman box? It is indeed, Iffy. Derek Neiman, thank you very much for being a member for 22 months. But 38 months of membership is absolutely crazy, Jack. Okay, I haven't done a great job of the rim of that base, but there we go. So, little thing for you. For those of you who are worried, here it is. Good old Lord Marshal Dreer is painted in the box art scheme. we're done. So he's painted. So that video is coming. For those of you who were worried that wouldn't be any box art versions of anything, there's one, Lord Marshal Dreer. So today, we can pop that to one side now. Today, we have some of these bad boys to paint. Now, I think what I might do is just build as the box intends. They're Guardsmen at the end of the day. What's an extra plasma gun going to do? They're still going to die. So we'll end up with a full unit, which will have 2 snipers, 2 grenade launchers, 2 plasma, and 2 plasma pistols. I think is basically what we're going to end up with. Good morning, Josh, and all in chat. Warhipster, yes, I am proud of you joining my glorious death corps of Krieg in life, shame in death, atonement. There you go. Thank you very much, Colonel. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted yesterday. I'd love to see a new one, but I think that'll come just after Pigs Fly. Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it indeed. Like I said, it's been the addition of that happening. Okay, so here we have it. Yeah, so I think we'll end up with 2 plasma guns, 2 plasma pistols, 2 grenade launchers, 2 snipers, 1 Vox operator. I think that's what we're gonna do. I mean, I can steal a plasma gun from another box of these, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Because I don't care enough. I also want to just, run them as a unit of 10 if needs be. So where did I get to last night? I built the first 3. So now it's just a bog standard Death Corps trooper. So this is what we're going to do for a little bit now. We're going to do some building of some Guardsmen. We'll see how long it takes to get a couple of these together. And we're going to hang out and we're going to chat, and I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited for the Astra Militarum. And I'll talk to you about my plans as well, because I have a desire, ladies and gentlemen, to have somewhere in the region of 120 infantry as a bare minimum. A3, A4. Working on the 9th, working on 5th Krieg Siege Regiment, primed in Grace here, thinking of basing them with Basilicanum Grey. It sounds good to me. If you wanted to be a little bit dirtier, you could use Rattling Grime. That'll have a little bit more kind of brown to it. If you wanted to pop that in there. Tattoo Zoologist, thank you so much for the 1 gifted membership. And also, I should say, thank you, Derek, for the $5 dues. It's very kind of you. Josh, you asked a question on Tales about my Karazhan Stormcast. I used your paint guides. Your tutorials have made my painting enjoyable and productive. Well, that's very kind of you, Love Hippo. I'm glad I could help. As long as you're enjoying it and my videos are helping in some way or shape or form, then that's all we need. That's all I desire. What regimental numbers are you going for? I do love your colour scheme and thinking about using it to paint the rest of my Cadians. Ooh. Apparently, according to the Codex, mine are the 143rd. Or it's close. Close to the 143rd is what I've done. It's not 100%. Would you recommend a new way to do the Krieg coats, or the same as your older video recommended using a mix of Space Wolves Grey and Ultramarines Blue? I would probably just always recommend doing the older video the way I did it. You can go for the slightly darker thing, though, that we've done on Lord Marshal Dreer, which could work as well. And whilst that video is on its way, essentially the mix for that is you do Storm Fiend all over, and then it's some thinned down Black Templar over the top, and that gives you that lovely kind of dark greyish blue. That's for the darker coats. And then I highlighted it with rust grey, and that was it. Because we want to keep it, reasonably simple. T-Buck, thank you very much for the $5. That's very generous of you. I just ordered the paints for Angron in your Contrast Plus method. Thank you again for that video. Iron Jaw Spearhead is on the way, so I need to make room. I've got a video for that coming as well, T-Buck. There shouldn't be any surprises in it, though. If you've seen the Ard Boys video, it's pretty much the same. Hello, Mr. Gwatkin. How are we this fine Militarum Monday? We're great. We're great. Absolutely fantastic. Let's put the camera on my face. I'm not sure you guys need to see me scraping mold lines off of a Krieg coat. Don't know how interesting that is to watch. But maybe my face is a little bit more interesting to watch. Who knows? Hello. One can hope. Do you have any plans to paint any Underworld's war bands? I will do them as and when they come up. Nicholas. The only two I haven't done that I have in my possession are Mayari's Purifiers and the one which had the Slangor in it. The Slanesh one. I can't remember what it was called. But I have Mayari's Purifiers and the Slangor one to do. Which I'm sure I will eventually get to. We've got quite a few war bands on the channel already. We have things like if you're looking for something to do because you're bored, or something like that. We have Grandfather's Gardeners and the Jaws of Itzel. We have Zicket's Tunnel Pack. We have the Ember Watch. What else do we have? Brethren of the Bolt. That was one we did. We have the Flesh Eater Courts one that came out not too long ago as well. That's also on the channel. Sons of Velmorn. That's on the channel as well. There's a Khorne one as well, as I recall. Did you order Hera Bride of Death? Oh, I didn't, actually. That's a great reminder. I meant to do that. Thank you for reminding me. Let's go and see if it's all. Let's go and see if it's in stock, shall we? Games Workshop. Hera, the Bride of Death. Yeah, go on. Add to cart. It's 20 quid. What's 20 quid between friends? Quite a lot. I am broke for the next couple of weeks. It's that time of the year where one has to pay one's taxes. Zangerous, thank you very much for the 5. Looking to paint some Iron Jaws in the ZX Weird Lads scheme, the orange ones. What would you suggest on achieving a nice orange armour? Let me have a look. ZX Weird Lads. Warhammer Underworlds. Why can't I find them? Well, so depending on the kind of vibe you're going for uh, uh, for orange, there's a couple of different options you can take. Gorgrunter fur, weirdly, is a really nice brown orange. It's an orangey brown, it's a reddy brown basically. So if you thin it down a little bit, you get quite a nice color. So like maybe like two to one mix of medium and Gorgrunter fur. That can work. If you want to go brighter orange, you can use something like Magma Droth Flame, but that's a single coat. Single pigment contrast paint, so you'll want to shade it, and you can shade it actually with just Gryph-hound Orange. If you want to see what that looks like, if you look up my Chin Shah video for the Master of the Keshig, so the White Scars character, you can see what that looks like on the base. That's what that orange looks like when you Magma Droth Flame and then shade with Gryph-hound Orange. It looks really nice, and then of course you just have Gryph-hound Orange on its own, but I would recommend doing 2 coats of Gryph-hound Orange to get a really vibrant orange, and you can see how that looks if you check out my Vespid Stingwings video. Just realised I've painted 15 models so far, mainly Nighthaunts. Nice. Have you done Gene Stealer Aberrants? I haven't. As in the GSC ones. We've done a lot of GSC content, I think. I've painted a lot of GSC models over the years, but I haven't done the Aberrants. I'm going to try and scrape together some energy and paint tonight. This flu is killing me. Yeah, but don't overstretch, Travis. You don't want to end up like me. You know. We care about you, so look after yourself. So I have a question for chat, and I think I know what the answer is. Should I? Because we're going to have 2 full sections of infantry for the Krieg, right? So what my sections of infantry will consist of is a 20-man squad and a command squad, right? And then it will be backed up by an artillery piece and a heavy weapons squad. Okay, so that's a full section for the Krieg. Now I'm gonna paint an entire section in the same color, but my question to chat is: do I selfishly paint the second section, because there will be a second one, as the same as the first, or do we go to a different regiment and therefore come up with a different scheme? And if I do come up with a different scheme, is it the green one that you really want? Because we've done the blue and we've done this brown one, so do I do a green one as well? That's my question to all of you. I would like to know what you think. Now the Cadians, on the other hand, we're going to be doing the same thing. So 2 infantry sections, so 20 men, and then a command squad, as well as backed up by a heavy weapon squad and a field ordnance battery. I already know what they're going to be. They're going to be the green ones. We're going to do a video on how I'm going to fix my old green ones to be all the same. But the other one's going to be the Harakoni Warhawks, which we have done on the channel a couple of times, 2 times I think, for the Tempestus Aquilons and for some Cadian infantry. So we're going to expand that out. So they are going to be 2 different regiments. But the question is do we do that for the Krieg as well? Or do I just selfishly have everything as one single regiment and, you know... Hello, first time caller, long time listener. You have been a godsend with my Shadowkeeper Banana Boys. Where did you get those ruins you put on your Caladius Grav tank base? That's an easy question to answer there, chicken. It is from this box right here. This is the Sector Imperialis large base detail kit. Even if they don't sell this anymore, it should be pretty easy to find. I don't know if they do still sell it, but it's that one there. Sicta Imperialis large base detail kit. And the sprues look thusly. You get 4 sprues in here. And it's very dusty because I haven't put them away. So you basically get 2 identical sprues of each of these. So you get one that looks like that. So all of that stuff. Yeah? And you get 2 of those. There they are. Including a lamppost. That's what you've always wanted. And you get 2 of these. That one. There. Which I think is what you're asking about. Because we've got these pieces on it, right? That one there. And as you can see, that's the one where I use those pieces from. So there you go. You should be able to find it. I would suspect that most local hobby shops might have one tucked away somewhere if they don't or still have it in stock. Down the Man Collections. Hey Josh, do you think you'll do videos on the new Eldari range when they release? So that's my question for all of you. Not do you want to see it, because I know what the answer to that question is. The answer to that question is yes. My question to all of you about that is, if I do it, we definitely want to do the Phoenix Lords, right? So Lycus, Fugan, Assaman. I think that's it, isn't it? No, there's another one. Baharoth. So I definitely want to do those, okay? But as for swooping hawks, fire dragons, striking scorpions, warp spiders, all of that stuff, there is already a video on the channel for how to paint all of those. Now, they are the Finecast versions, naturally. But the colour schemes are exactly the same. So I'm not going to do the same video again. It's just not going to happen. But if there is an alternative way of painting those aspect warriors, which I don't know because I haven't seen the codex yet, and I haven't seen the boxes, and I haven't seen any of that. We don't know. If there is an official Games Workshop alternative way of painting them, I might do the aspect warriors that way. But otherwise, I'm not going to do them again because there's literally no point in doing it again. Because the color placement will be the same. The models are not different at all. They've not changed the models. They're just slightly bigger, rounded, and made of plastic. That's what's disappointing about the Eldari range to me. There's only one new model, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's my question for all of you: is how do you want the Eldari range content to go? Because I don't want to do how to paint warp spiders again, because it will be the same video again. I will literally change nothing. Chicken45, thank you so much for the $9.99. Thank you for all you do. Your painting style is so smart, and thanks again for being awesome. Josh from Pittsburgh. Hey, Joshes stick together. We're the best. Individual Guardian Craftwell schemes as well, if you can squeeze it in. I see. So what you're saying is do the Phoenix Lords. Like the Phoenix Lords, I don't think they're in doubt, okay? So don't worry, I will do the Phoenix Lords. Yeah? We'll do the Phoenix Lords. Instead of doing all of the Aspect Warriors as videos, you want to see Guardians. So what you're saying is I should buy a box of Guardians. Is that what you're saying? Also, my question is if Games Workshop does choose to send them to me, I'm guessing you guys want to see a Sprew review. Because that's what's going to be confusing for a lot of people, is if we do a Sprew review involves building and figuring out how much time it takes to do them. So if we're going to do a Sprew review for those for the Guardians and stuff. Not Guardians, for the Fire Dragons and all that kind of thing. Do you want to see a sprue review for all of that? Do you want to have a look at those sprues? I'm happy to take your lead on this. This is a democracy, after all. So you do want a sprue review for all of the aspect warriors? Because presumably it all comes at the same time. That's my thinking. Is you'll see, you know, I don't think it will be a staggered release. Oh, I suppose it could be, actually. It could be a staggered release, because they're not releasing it as part of an army set or anything like that. It's all just happening as individual boxes. Which is very clever, by the way, of Games Workshop to do it that way. To not do an army set for the Eldari. Because as much as it seems like all everyone ever wants is plastic aspect warriors, whenever they do a box which has a new plastic aspect warrior in it, it doesn't sell very well. Because actually nobody really wants it. Because invariably, the feedback is, when are you going to do plastic swooping hawks? Here's plastic swooping hawks. Oh, they look the same as my swooping hawks. I'll just keep my resin ones. Which is actually what ends up happening. You always vote for yes for any content I do. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Like I said, you guys are... I only ever... Look, I only ever want to make you guys happy. That's the thing. I don't want to make anyone mad. Despite what my videos might end up doing. I just want to show you guys what you want to see. You know? Okay, so... Sprue review for the models you're going to paint, i.e. the Phoenix Lords only. But then it's incomplete, Cameron. That's the problem. See the rest of the craft worlds. Okay. Well, I will... How much is a box of Guardians? Because if we're going to buy Hera... Eldar... No. What would you just... I'm just going to search Guardians. Guardian Defenders. Storm Guardians. Is it the same thing? Or are they two different kits? You could also choose to build this get as close combat focused Storm Guardians. Okay, cool. Alright, what does that put us on? Oh no, hang on, I should buy these separately, because otherwise they won't turn up at the same time. Oh, bum. Okay. Are you not obligated to do them if GW sends them? No, not at all. There is no obligation from Games Workshop for me to do anything with anything that gets sent. I do it all voluntarily, basically. I do it all because I know it's what you guys want. I just want to help. I just want to be beloved. Don't we all? No, so if Games Workshop sends you something, there's no there is no request, there's no obligation to do it at all. Which is nice to not have that kind of pressure. The Seer Council has predicted the Guardians video. Okay, Cameron, that's very, very nice. Thanks for looking into this, Josh. Sorry to take away from Militarum Mondays. No, it's okay. This is what we do, you know. This one, you know, it's quite a relaxed. This is almost like a this is a first Me Time Monday of the year. But I'm here to support you guys. I keep saying that today. It's almost like nobody believes me. Yeah, no, it's I'm happy to help. And I've built a Guardsman, so there we go. We're all good. Thank you very much for the £37 there, Cameron. That's very kind of you. Okay, so I'm going to get over to here. And I'm going to go for Guardians. Okay, and of course that brings up a lot of stuff that isn't Guardians. There we go. Let's throw them. Do I need anything else? Yeah, probably. I will get them built. I will get them bought. Not to be off topic, but what overhead camera do you use, and what camera do you use for the shots of your glorious face? So this one here is a Sony A6300. This one here is the overhead one is an Sony A6700. As good as the A6700 is, it does have overheating issues. So I had to buy a fan to put in it. A little kind of extra Ulanzi fan. So it's a good camera, but it does overheat. And because I film for sort of, well, I mean, we're doing a live stream, right? The live stream's 2 hours at least. Later on, I'll film for about 4 or 5 hours. I need to get a different lens for this one. Not for that one. That one's fine. But we'll see. Hang on. I've got too many things going on at once. Let me sort this out. So we need to get the Guardians. So let me just buy those. Let me get that done. Where are we on? And then let's just order Hera. That's fine. I want the other Hera model as well. They said that one's plastic. I think, if I recall. Which is exciting. I want that one. But I will get the Bride of Death. And then we'll do Hera, Bride of Death, Helm, Hammerhand, Lord Thorn, and Frecker at the same time. We'll do all 4 of them. That makes sense. And then for you, do I need some more? Probably. Let's get some more Stirland mud. because we're almost definitely going to need it. Suppose I can get some tufts as well. Let's go with that one. I need something for £5. I wonder if there's any... Oh, actually, I know. I know. I know. There we go. Lovely. Okay. Boom. There we go. Done. Okay. Is Iralas back in stock yet? Oh, I can check. No. He's not. Love to see you do gambling with the Banner of Rohan sometime. Love your MESBG painting guides. It's inspired me to actually make a Rohan army. That's something that we will do. Back onto guard. How would you do a Valhallan Ice Warriors? I haven't looked at Valhallan Ice Warriors for a while. Let me have a look. How do they paint them? Ooh, interesting. Let's have a look. What's about that? To be honest, what I would probably do is skeleton horde for the coats. Shade it with Agrax Earthshade to bring it down a little bit. You'd use Militarum green for the trousers, and then probably Wildwood for all the leather, and Black Legion for all the guns and stuff. Is how I would do these. They don't really seem to be armoured in any way, shape or form. So, you know, there you go. Guardsmen are conscripted from childhood, right? I know 3 beautiful models that would make great conscripts. That's a good point there. Justice for Bard's family. I'm not in the habit, though, of putting children into my armies. You know, I'm not into that. Okay, we now need to build a medic. A10 is where we're going. But thank you very much for the 5. And then Nervous Magikarp, thank you very much for the 5 as well. You're literally the reason I paint. I hate it, but your tutorials help me so much. Thank you. Managed to get a guard box. Can't wait for your videos. Oh, that's awesome, Nervous Magikarp. Thank you so much. I'm glad I can help. I'm glad I can help make it easier in any way, shape, or form. Because painting isn't for everybody. Of course it's not. But if I can try and help lessen the burden of doing it, then that's nice. And then maybe one day when we actually become a big YouTube channel, bigger YouTube channel, I should say, because we're a pretty big YouTube channel already. Which is weirdly confident of me to say. But, in the grand scheme of things, but maybe one day we'll be able to restart some form of commission service when we're an organisation around here, as opposed to just a solo effort. What would you suggest for an orange jumpsuit colour? I think Gryph-hound orange is great for orange jumpsuits. Because it's just weak enough for it to be like a cloth. Magmadroth Flame is a bit too strong for it. I do apologise, I just punched the mic by accident. So Gryph-hound orange is pretty good for a jumpsuit. I did do some Poxwalkers a long time ago in a Death Guard Combat Patrol box video, I think. I think we did an orange jumpsuit in there. You can see what that looks like. I think the thing with painting is you either enjoy the mechanics of doing so, or you enjoy the results. And I think the trick is to figure out which one of those things you prefer is, because that's where you're going to get your reward. So if you enjoy the actual mechanics of painting, like just sitting there and painting and, you know, sort of being in your own little world painting for a bit, then that's great. You can do that for hours and hours and hours and hours. If you like being able to sit back and go, hey, look, I've painted a miniature, then in many ways it's kind of like, well, just hold out for that kind of dopamine hit, because that's where your enjoyment's going to come from. So that can be your motivation, is to know that you're going to enjoy it once it's done. That's one way to look at it. I had fun with painting the Lion and Deathwing Knights, but my gosh, Word Bearers Chosen are just such a slog for me for some reason. It might be something to do with the trim. Are you doing 40k Chosen? I think when it comes to Warhammer in general, there's a degree of kind of self-examination that is important, and just kind of understanding why it is you're doing something. It's a hobby, you know. It's meant to be fun. So if it's not fun, then I think you've kind of lost what your mission statement was going in, if you see what I mean. So it's like, oh, I'm not really enjoying playing the game anymore, you know, that kind of thing. I'm just worried that I don't like it anymore. Well, it's not that you don't like playing tabletop games, it's that you don't like playing that game the way it's played at the moment. That's the question. And if you want to sort of stay in touch with it, then you've got to figure out what that is, as it were. Yeah, but I prime Lead Belcher and use Flesh Terror's Red. I think sometimes a model can look like it's going to be a slog, just by looking at it, right? You can look at a model and think, oh, that's going to be really complicated and annoying to do. And as a consequence, you end up not being that amped to do it. And there are other models you look at and you think, oh, that's going to be a doddle. I'm looking forward to doing that. And so you end up doing it in about an hour and a half. Or, you know, a surprisingly short amount of time. So I, for example, look at these Kriegsmen and I go, oh, they're so cool. I'm really excited to do them. And so when I figured out the scheme, I painted the first one in an hour and 50 minutes. Did a whole one, to figure it out. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this is great. And so then went on and did the next 4. And then did the final 5 for the video. And I was done after sort of 2 days. And that was just because I was really passionate and excited to paint them. I've been following your Fulgrim tutorial in 6 hours on Gold Trin. I'm not done yet, but it is looking awesome. Thanks for the tutorial. Oh, that's awesome, Love Hippo. I'm glad you're using it. That Fulgrim tutorial was a labour of love, that's for sure. Again, thank you to Cameron for helping us out with that one. So why are you saying that this is 88? When 88 does not exist, I don't think. I don't see an 88 here. So we'll just go for 83. Why not? We'll just throw that on there. It's not the end of the world. I've successfully painted 3/4 of a Tyranid Ravener in 2025. That's awesome, Tim. Keep going. I loved doing my Chaos Lord, but maybe it was just the attempt of batch painting them as the first project of the year. My motivation has actually been returning, so I think I was just burned still. Yeah, I mean, that can also happen. The thing to manage as well is the scope of a project. And I think some people get lost in the weeds a little bit by overextending on the scope. Now, it might be that you are going to do a 2,000 point... Let's say we're going to do a 2,000 point guard army, and we're going to do 120 infantry for it, which is, you know, kind of my rough plan. So that's what I'm planning to do. But what I would never do is build all 120 infantry first, and then prime them all, and then be sat with 120 prime models and be like, right, time to get going. I can only batch paint 5 at a time and currently doing free Guild Fusiliers 16 to 20. Yeah, so doing 5 is the max, I think, that I would ever recommend to have in a batch at one time. So if you're going to batch paint, do things in batches of 5. 6, even 6 can make it feel like it's too much. So like when you're painting, like sometimes when Games Workshop has a box that comes out which has 6 models, and it's like, well, I'm not going to do them in it actually is better to do them in 2 batches of 3 rather than 6, because actually that 6th one feels like it's just a step too far. that's what I felt about Saviors of Cinderfall. I was like, I got through the first 5, and then the 6th one, I was like, come on now. This is taking forever. You know? 5 Tyranid Norn emissaries. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, you can do that if you like. You can only use 3 though. What? Oh, it's not on this sprue. 61 and 62. It'll be on this sprue. The thing I don't understand about this Veteran Guardsman sprue is it feels like it was designed and then they added an upgrade kit before it came out. Two assimilators and 3 emissaries then. Yeah, that's legit. 5 Baneblades. Yeah, we could do 5 Baneblades. I really can't wait to see you paint the new Fugan. Yeah, well, I'm excited for him. I think he's a cool model. The only one that I'm really excited, really excited and amped for Eldari fans is Lycis, the Warp Spiders Phoenix Lord, because it's the only actually new model in that set of models. The rest of it is a double monetization of your army. But it is what it is. If you already have Eldar. If you don't already have Eldar, it's great. It's great news for you. But if you do already have a large Eldar collection, there's only one new model in the whole lot for you, which is a bit sad. When does it become too many points of a single army faction and it would be better to move on to a different army? That question has no right answer. Because I have 10,000 points of Blood Angels, and we're definitely not finished with them. There's plenty more I could add and do. I'm just not doing it because, well, we've done so much Blood Angels content. I don't really need to do anything. Realistically, the Blood Angels for me as a collection is mostly done. It's just if something new comes out for them, I will add it. And if something new comes out for generic Space Marines that feels like it should go into the Blood Angels, that's where it'll go. But going forward, so next year will be Warhammer 40k 11th edition in the summer. And there will be Space Marines in that new box. Now, if it's Assault Terminators, for example, they'll go into the Blood Angels. If it's not, I'm going to throw them into Salamanders. Or something else. Guys, you've absolutely smashed it, and I haven't even asked today. But thank you so much for 51 likes on the stream. Now, can we get to the magic number? Can we get 18 more likes on the stream, please? Bare minimum. I'd like 100, but, you know, I'm realistic. I understand not everybody likes clicking the like button. A57, where are you? There you are. But can you have too many points in Titans? No, you can't, Alan. That's something we do need to desperately do some more work on. The Warlord's Titan. Thank you for reminding me. Well, I never forget about it. I'm really excited for Guard at the moment. I need to sit and I need to have I need to talk to Peter about getting him over here to help me put it together. Because I'm gonna accept that I am not a competent enough builder to do it myself. I know my limitations, and it keeps freaking me out every time I look at it, which is why I keep procrastinating on it. So I'm accepting that about myself. This is what I mean. I'm accepting my own limitations as a hobbyist. Like, I'm very happy putting together Astra Militarum. Very, very happy. This doesn't bring me out in a rash. It would also seem some people don't like copyright-free music during streams. Yeah, it would seem that way. How is this stream balanced? Can you hear me okay? Is the music too loud for you? Can you even hear the music? Some people often say, what music? I didn't know there was music. There is no music. There you go. You can hear me just fine. Excellent. For me, it's also about if I'm still having fun building and painting that army. If you still like the go wild, if you need a break, try something different. Yeah. It's really not up that loud. It's at minus 45 decibels. First time here, just found you this morning doing the Sprew review on the new guard box. I was super impressed with the way you presented everything. Oh, thank you, Lord Holt. Bump up the music a smidge. How's that? Hello there. Hello, Behir Games. Ah, here we go. We're in plasma gun territory. Is there a scale at which music becomes poisonous? Apparently so. Unwatchable, to be precise. Also, hello, Demogorgon. How you doing? Hello from Spain. You are an amazing painter. Love your job, man. Oh, thank you very much, Alejo. I hope I said that right. A31, A32. Do you thin paints when dry brushing? No, you don't need to. You can, but I don't. Well, sometimes it's very rare, but sometimes I will thin a paint because I've already used it. Do you see what I mean? So it's already thinned down, so I'll just use it there on the palette. But no, you don't. You generally don't need to thin down a dry brush paint. It's not. You're not going to improve the application in any way, shape, or form. You're just gonna slow yourself down doing that. Steelo, thank you very much for becoming a member. That's very kind of you. You're actually our second new member a day, and I haven't updated it, so we are on 476. So, you know, we're 24 shy of our goal of 500. And there's 90 people watching right now. Hello from Tijuana. New to this Warhammer and going to start with, I think is the best army, Salamanders. Oh, that's a great shout there, Victor. Salamanders are great. I love painting Salamanders. It's such a striking scheme as well. The green is a lovely tone of green. And I struggle with green. Not that I don't like the colour. I love the colour green. I very much enjoy the colour green. But I sometimes... I just can't get green right sometimes. It's one of my weaknesses as a painter. So when I stumble across a green I love, like this one for the Krieg... I'm like, yep, use it on everything, ever. The Salamanders is very similar. I really enjoyed painting that. Can you use contrast paint on all primers, or do they work better with some? Yeah. You can use contrast paint over top of any primer, but it will work better with brighter primers. So like you can even use contrast paints over the top of Chaos Black, but it won't do very much. What you'll end up with is basically a tinted black in the colour that you used, which can actually be to your benefit sometimes, depending on what it is you're trying to do. So if you're trying to do like a really, really dark, like red, for example, you could use a dark brown primer and then use red over the top of it, and you'll get a really, really, really dark red, which is really nice. Sometimes, as an example, when I do my painting videos, you'll see me paint a colour, and then we'll wait, and then we'll paint a different colour over the top of it to get a different colour. That's basically what you're getting. Any primer that you apply, contrast paint will work over. It'll just be way more effective than others. So when you use a green over a dark brown, it's not going to look like the green that you want it to. It's going to look like a very, very dark brown green, basically, is the answer to that question. It's not gonna, if you were to, I mean, the best way to explain it is if you were to follow one of my tutorials but change the primer to let's say Mechanicus Standard Grey, everything is going to be much, much darker and have a hint of grey to it, like dark grey to it, rather than look like the model as I've done it, basically. The use of blues and purples on the Exalted Flamer is a great example. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. What green is it? The one on the Krieg, it's Vulcan green on the Krieg, which is a layer paint. It's Vulcan green, shaded with Nuln Oil, and then highlighted with Strachan green is what we've done on the Krieg. It's really simple, but it is not contrast paint because it was for me it was just going to be, it was going to cause a lot less hassle to do it that way, and it looks amazing. Um, Has your classic Krieg scheme changed with Lord Dreer? Yes, it has. Only in the sense that Lord Dreer's coat is a lot darker than what you have in a kind of more traditional that Forge World scheme that the Krieg had. The Forge World scheme was significantly brighter, whereas the newer stuff seems to be darker. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Let me build this Kriegsman, and we'll have a little trip. A trip down Picture Lane. There we go. So now we need to put on a plasma gun. A85. Need to put a backpack on first. No, we don't. Yeah, we do. A85. That'll do. Baboom. So that scheme I did on the Veteran Guardsmen all those years ago is the kind of classic Forge World brighter blue. But they have changed some of it. And I don't know if it's based on rank or battlefield role or something, but they've changed a few things here and there for it to be different colours, for it to be much darker. When are your Krieg tutorials coming out? I can't wait for the Krieg box set in a few weeks, but can't face painting the Death Riders and Dreer without you holding my hand. The Krieg tutorials will be coming out this week, Chris. Have you ever hand painted an undercoat? Oh yes, long time ago. Long time ago I used to do that. I have used primers ever since I used primer cans ever since I sort of came back to the hobby after a little time off in 2016. But before that I used to hand prime by hand. Hand prime by hand, that doesn't make any sense, but there we go. Right, we need our plasma gun. So it's A75. No. There we go. A75 and A73. Where are you? Not on here. What about on here? A73, there you are. A73 and A45. I bet we go back to here for that, don't we? It's not a very well laid out sprue, this Veteran Guardsman sprue. Oh no, it's there. A45. There we go. But yeah, those Krieg tutorials will all be coming this week. We'll probably kick things off with either the Veteran Guardsman, where I figure out the scheme video, or Lord Marshal Dreer. Be interested to hear what you guys would prefer to see first. What you building? I'm building Krieg Guardsman. So hello, Forge Father Vulcan. Vulcan lives. Vulcan does indeed live. Vulcan is eternal. even though the End and the Death book was pretty... Well, the Siege of Terror was basically about getting rid of all of the Perpetuals. Is Grey Seer your favourite primer? It is. I like Grey Seer because it's cold. So it makes everything feel a little bit darker. Wraithbone is very warm, so it makes everything appear brighter and livelier. So it's good for some things, but I like Grey Seer just because it has the tone that I'm after for most of the models, especially for like 40k. Wraithbone's very like a warm model is very rare in 40k. Everything's a bit gloomy in 40k. That'll do. That's one plasma gun done. Yeah, right. So we need the codex really for this. So let me just pop these out of the way. So I'll show you what I mean in the yeah, that'll do. That page there. So if we go over to this camera. So you see, like, with these, you see how the coats are just a bit darker. You can particularly see it around here, for example. You see? So they've changed how things are a little bit. Because, you know, traditionally everything was like kind of this sort of bright blue. In the Forge World book. But things be different now. There we go. So you can see it down here. You see how the coats are on the outside a little bit darker, and then on the inside it's that kind of that brighter grey. Basically, it's a case of that classic recipe that I used to do is still 100% relevant for doing like the inside of the cloak, the coats, but for the outside of it, you're probably better off with what we're going to do, what we have done for Lord Marshal Dreer, which is coming soon. And to answer the question earlier about how I came up with my scheme, there it is. So I've gone for darker armor than they have because I thought it looked better. But basically that's it. You could see it on this page as well. There you go. How do you base your MESBG models? In the same way I always do. Stirland mud and then dry brushed with dry brushed with Tyrant Skull. So, as you can see, we've replicated the dark blue on Dreer for the outside of the coat and for the armor. There you go. Have you tried Tamiya sprays or any other brands? I have. I've tried Colourforge sprays. Colourforge sprays are quite nice. I haven't tried Tamiya brand. I generally don't want to use other brand sprays. And the reason being is that I don't want you to open my video and the video goes, "Hey everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial. And today we're going to be painting insert model here." Now, in order to paint this, you're going to have to buy something you definitely don't have. It's basically the reason why. How daunting are the Astra Militarum and Krieg versus Cities of Sigmar? I'd say they're probably less daunting. The reason being is that there's just a little bit less detail. And you also have... I mean, points-wise, it's very similar, right? But, like, you can paint one of those, paint a couple of those to fill in gaps. Whereas with Cities of Sigmar, for example, you've got lots of... If you're going to go with lots of... There's nothing as fiddly as... So, for example, I would say that the... what's it called? The Death Riders are significantly easier to paint than the Cavaliers, as an example. Because the Cavaliers are all different coloured horses and different coloured heraldry and fiddly and loads of detail all over them. Whereas the Death Riders, they do have loads of detail, but it's a much more open and simple model to paint. The infantry are all much a muchness between the steel helms and the sort of your general guardsmen. So we've done 6 of our Krieg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. So now we need to build another grenade launcher. Yes. Those grenade launchers are pretty good. So we're going A38, A40, and A39. Brilliant. All located in the same space. A39. To do the spray trick you did for your tanks, but with the classic Krieg scheme, what colours would you use? Oh, that is a good question. I think what I would do, if I was to do the classic Krieg scheme, to do it with sprays, I would probably... Does Games Workshop still make the Fang as a spray? If Games Workshop still makes the Fang as a spray, I would spray the tank with the Fang. And then I would put the blue tack on. And then I would go over it with grey cere. And then I would paint the grey cere parts with Space Wolves grey. If Games Workshop doesn't still make the Fang, then I would look at Colourforge and see if they make it. Because the Fang looks like... Where is it? Do I still have it? Maybe I don't. Oh, no, I do. So that's what the Fang looks like. And that would give you a dark blue. And then use... and then you use the Space Wolves grey to get you a lighter blue over the top of the grey sear. That would probably be what I would do. To keep it blue. You could use Mechanicus standard grey instead, and then just go over the whole thing, like instead of the Fang, and go over the whole thing with a single thinned down Space Wolves grey mix, which would darken down the Mechanicus standard grey, and it would obviously it would colour the grey sear bits as well. That would be one way of doing it. There's lots you could do. Oh, it's over there. You can airbrush it on. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing as well. You could use an airbrush. If you're so inclined. But we don't really do that around here. Again, the reason why we don't do that is because I don't want videos that stop somebody from being able to do said video by indicating that you need to use a piece of equipment you might not own. Because the majority of, it might not seem it, but the majority of painters don't have an airbrush, as opposed to the minority that do. And that comes from the experience I had when I was looking at tutorials trying to figure out how to do stuff. Back again in 2016, I was looking up how to paint, it was how to paint Ultramarines tanks. And every single video was like, we're just going to whack out the airbrush. It's like, no, don't have one of those. Try again. And then I ended up going into Games Workshop and they were just like, we have a Macragge blue spray. You'll be fine. I was like, sick. I'll use that instead. I say all of this, and I am unfortunately going to be doing exactly that for my tanks video. Now you could swap out, thankfully, you could swap out, and it would look slightly different. It would be a lot warmer, but you could have Mornfang brown spray and Xandri dust spray. That would they would replace. They wouldn't be exactly colour matched, but they would replace the Hyrax brown and Trench brown that we'll be doing on the tanks video. But I was thinking about it last night, and I was trying to figure out a way I could make a video that that uses grey sear, uses a lot more contrast paints in order to do sort of green tanks and stuff like that. Because I did do a video on how to paint the Rogel Dawn when it first came out, and that Rogel Dawn is sat up there, and I don't dislike it, and I might do some Lehman Rust to go with it, so we have some different squadrons of tanks. But right now, my first tank group is going to be these two Lehman Russ, a Rogel Dawn, and the Baneblade, which we will get to. Better solution, paint them as Blood Angels, or anything else. No airbrush in the Astra Militarum. Exactly. We don't believe in them. Do everything by hand, or it's not worth doing. You're in the guard now, son. A78, A43. Hello, Elec man. It has been a little while. How are you, buddy? I hope you've been keeping well. As a purveyor of fine airbrushes, I feel attacked. Now, look, I don't have a problem with anybody who uses an airbrush to do stuff. Absolutely not. I think it's a great skill to have, and it's a very impressive skill, one that I don't have, which is why I don't do it. And because I don't have interest in learning said skill, and also it doesn't really fit with the mission statement of the channel, that's why we don't do it, basically. That might change. Like, I was talking about it with Alice. She was like, if you were to bring someone on to make videos, what would you do? And I was like, well, one I think which would be really, really good would be to hire someone who could make airbrush specific content and just be like, yeah, that person is going to be, you know, is going to bring a skill to the channel that I don't have. And that would be great. But that's an example of, like, you could call it a weakness of mine, and that's fair. I would say it probably is that I don't have that. There we go. I'll join the channel. My skills are procrastination and decision paralysis. That is what we need weekly videos on. I've been surviving. Work has got me down, especially lately, but when life got in the way, by the time I was in a place where I could come back, YouTube stopped recommending me your streams. I understand that. But I've been alright. Work sucks even more now that it's January, but I'll live. It's just another motivator for me to go back to school for that library science degree. Well, there you go. YouTube doesn't like me. Which they should. I find whenever I have technical difficulties, that's when YouTube and I fall out. What? Where is this piece? It's definitely here some... Ah, found it. What is your opinion on haricot beans? The beans in baked beans. Well, I guess my opinion is that I like them because I eat a lot of baked beans. I'm a big fan of baked beans. But honestly, I'm not enough of a bean expert to give much more of an opinion other than I eat baked beans, therefore I like baked beans. And I really hope that's not some sort of trap. What about your opinion of bell peppers? I promise this is the last message in a bit. I like them as well. YouTube, I think, struggles to deal with the vast majority of users who don't even subscribe to a channel, let alone use the platform in any kind of meaningful or logical way. Yeah, I mean that's the difficult, right? But like, I think YouTube's one of those services that I think if you use it all the time sometimes without realizing it. So like you might look up like how to the example I always give, well I used to give when I used to work in learning and development as a way of trying to explain to people that video was the future of delivering learning updates. I used to say what people do is they Google the question and then they watch the top video or they click on the top link, and that is usually how that goes. Right. What paint do you use the most? I guess Retributor Armor, Nuln Oil, and Agrax Earthshade. Yeah, they would be up there. Iron Warriors would also be up there, as would Skeleton Horde, Black Legion, yeah. Black Legion, I think, is probably my most used paint, because black is on everything. I feel like there's still friction in the process of getting myself to actually hobby. That worries me on some level, but right now the game of Warhammer isn't getting me going much. So I'm hoping setting a goal with public accountability will help me, but again, I'm worried that amount of cognitive friction will make the process unfun for me. Any advice? we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I think the thing that might help you, Elecman, is to identify what it is you want to do with your hobby. Now, if it's that you want to just you want to space out for a bit and like kind of escape, use it as a form of escapism, then ultimately you shouldn't be setting goals. You should just sit down at the desk and just play with whatever model comes to mind. It might be that you paint something, it might be that you build something, it might be that you just examine them and look at what you've already done and feel proud. You know, that is part of it. You know, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I sit and I just look at this cupboard and just go, yeah, I do all right. I think what a better way of getting motivation for yourself will be to sit and kind of figure out what it is you're seeking from doing it, whether it's that, again, escapism, or the reward of getting something done in the form of that dopamine hit of being like, look, I finished these miniatures, isn't that awesome? If you can identify what that is, it will make getting there a lot quicker and easier, I think. It's just a case of you kind of just, rather than kind of setting yourself up for failure because you might have a fear of failure by not hitting a goal, that is what's causing that is the fear of is the goal. So don't set the goal. Edward705, thank you very much for the 1 gifted membership. That's very kind of you. We're on 477. We're 23 away. Mushrooms. I do like mushrooms, but I don't like eating mushrooms just on their own. So, like, a pile of mushrooms, I won't touch it. But, like, having mushrooms in something, I do enjoy it. Some time ago, I decided that I'll try to paint at least 1 low detail model a day, as then I will get my daily dose of endorphins because a mini got some paint on it. And now I'm on day 59 of that hobby streak. That's awesome. How is that going for you, Behir Games? Toadstools. I can't say that I ever eat toadstools. Served in a bathing of moonlight. Oh, see, now it's romantic. I'm up for some romantic toadstools. But you never know what might turn into a goblin and just shank you, you know? I've consumed far too much Warhammer content to trust a toadstool in a moonlit setting. A14. A16. Ah! And A15. Mega Brune, thank you very much for the $4.99. Evening, been following your Nemesis Claw video for the last week and super happy with them. Also did Gilliman using your guide and turbo pleased. Well, that's very kind of you, Mega Brune. I'm glad I could help. I'm glad. Model of the year, Nemesis Claw, I think you'll find. Not because of me, but just because, you know, that's what everybody said. Best models that 40k had to muster last year. And I know I've said this before, but can you imagine if they hadn't I know it's exactly why they did separate the categories, because they knew deep down that what was going to happen was something like the Nemesis Claw was going to win, and therefore they'd have to say, well, guys, the best thing we did all year, according to you, the people, was an upgrade sprue for Chaos Space Marines. Especially in a year where Scaventide came out, that would have been a bit funny. Because it wouldn't surprise me if this year, 2025, we go back to just a single model of the year category, because this year we're going to be getting things like Fulgrim, and you know, we've already had the Krieg, they're very cool, but this year we already know we've got the Eldari, we have the Krieg, we have the, what's it called, Gitmob, that's coming as well. So the Doomflyer catapult, is that its name? It's completely gone out of my head. So that's a model that would be in contention for model of the year, but it won't win because a Primarch is being released. My guess is Fulgrim for #1 model of the year. Yeah, 100%. Even if it's not, and I think it's a nice model. I don't think it's the best model I've ever seen. I think it's perfectly fine. I think Fulgrim Transfigured is a better rendition of it. Personally, that's just my own personal taste. But I haven't had the model in my hands yet. That might change once I've got Fulgrim in my hands. But like I've seen different angles of the photograph. So when the preview email, when the newsletter came out into my inbox, the Fulgrim model looks really cool when it's photographed from down up. So it's proper like it's hulking over the camera like that. It looks like it looks really great. But all the angles they've taken of it on the article are from top down, and it looks a bit silly there. Like, it doesn't look as menacing. So it's going to be one that I'll have to see and have in my hands to see what it looks like, to see how I feel about it. But it's already won model of the year because it's a 40k Primarch, and they always win. So, you know, might as well just do the poll now. Even if it's not the best model that gets released this year, because it might not be, and genuinely it probably won't be. You know, I will say, like, the Lion is a really nice model. It was not model of the year, though. There were better models, more impressive and more detailed and nicer looking models than him. But what his impact is for 40k is bigger than the other ones. See what I mean? To help the hobby paralysis thing, I recommend looking up some daft models that there's no pressure to paint. Mine's Moonstone, they're awesome models. There's no end goal, or pressure. Now, this is another great piece of advice. Lucius is coming for this Friday reveal. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much guaranteed. There's at least one square base model there as well, which I've seen in the silhouettes. Second, I've learned that I need to remind myself that I need to separate out my feelings of what I feel I need to do compared to what I want to do. Yeah, exactly. That's very precise. Some contrasts seem to apply more like a shade. Is it a pigment density / cohesion issue? For example, Hexwraith versus Eldari Emerald, or Talassar versus Tyrann. Yeah, so that's basically, I think, comes down to intensity of the colour, and also the light versus the heavy pigment. There's typically in a contrast paint there's two different pigments. You have the heavy darker pigment, which is supposed to run into the recesses, and you have the lighter brighter pigment, which is supposed to be the panel and the thing that creates that kind of skin that then tightens on the piece, which pulls back from the edge, which is how you get that edge highlighting type thing that it's supposed to do. Essentially what happens is some of them have got really heavy dark pigment and really light bright pigment, which means they're much runnier and they apply differently, and some of them it's much closer together, and some only have one pigment in them at all. So Imperial Fist, Black Legion, Bile Red, they're all single pigment, they just go on. You know, they apply very differently to the other ones. Whereas something like Wildwood's got a really dark heavy pigment, and it's got a much brighter, lighter brown pigment in it that's actually closer to Agrax Earthshade in a sense. What Wildwood is basically Agrax Earthshade with Rhinox hide, or Dryad bark is probably better. Dryad bark suspended in it, basically. So essentially, yeah. Hexwraith Flame is very different because it's one of the one of the original prototype contrast paints. Hexwraith Flame and Nighthaunt Gloom were the first two that ever came out as a test for the Nighthaunt in the second edition of Age of Sigmar. They are always going to act very different to the newer line like Eldari Emerald, even though they've been slightly reformulated. They still act very much like their older counterpart in that they generally are just like a flat application with that pullback that gives you a little bit of a highlight. They don't have that heavier, darker bit that runs into all the recesses. They are still dual pigment, but they're very, very flat. So yeah, it is kind of just like touch and go and kind of practice, basically, when that you come to recognize these things about the range. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a detour. Do you think they will recombine the categories and have AOS and 40k back together now that they know 40k can't lose? No, I think they'll recombine it because they know that it will make sense when 40k wins anyway. They might not, though. They might keep it separate. We'll see. Finally, I was told that a big centerpiece might make a nice palette cleanser, and because of the past 2 years I've worked on Zeech, I thought the Lord of Change would be a good fit. What do you think, though, Josh? Yeah, I mean, the Lord of Change would be fun. It's a big project to undertake, and it would keep you occupied, and it's just one thing to focus on. That would be good, right? I've thoughts on a new foreground, but work is way too busy for me to give them here and now. That's fair of me. There's impact in 40k? No, there isn't. Not really, but there is when it comes to sales. Yeah, Beastman, Shaman or similar on the square base. Yeah. Is there a list of the first and second wave of contrast paint? No. I have a series of what it looks like videos about the first wave, and I haven't done any of the second wave yet. I need like a week and a half off just to do it. Alan, thank you so much for 5 gifted Warhipster memberships. That's very kind of you. That puts us on 482. 18 away. A mere 18 away from 500. Can we do it in the next 20 minutes? I'm going to keep applying components to this Guardsman I haven't finished. I built his body. 84 and 13. Aha. Yeah, I did see Alec Man. I think, yeah, if the game is not something that interests you right now, don't paint for the game. Paint because you want to. The game shouldn't be... I don't paint any miniatures to play the games. I paint miniatures to make YouTube tutorials. I do want to play with my Astra Militarum, but I'm not building an Astra Militarum army that's super compy. I'm building the Astra Militarum army that I want to build, which contains 40 Cadians and 40 Krieg infantry, and then 20 Krieg engineers and 20 Kassakin, which a lot of people would probably say that's probably too much infantry. You don't need that much infantry. Just, you know, do 3 Rogaldorn tank commanders and go from there. But I wouldn't recommend, if you're not inspired enough by the game, that shouldn't be your motivation, because that is where you end up in that situation of I need to do this. And it might, you know, everyone always says rule of cool beats all. Yes, it does. Rule of cool is the thing that you should follow. You know, what do you want to do? It doesn't matter about whether it works in game or if it's for your games of Age of Sigmar or 40k. And it just so happens that it might end up being that way later on. But most of my hobby motivation comes from I need to eat, so I have to make videos. This is the first time I've been inspired to do 40k in a long time. So I'm building these because I want to build them, but I wouldn't do them if I didn't. Harley Sedgwick, thank you very much for becoming a member. And Alec Man, thank you very much for being a member for 8 months. That's very kind of you. Kairos Fate Weaver looks scary to paint. Yeah. Yeah, he could be. I need A48. Yes. There you are. And I need A47. This is where we're going to run into difficulty, I imagine. A47. Where are you? Do you even exist? Tell me you exist. Where is it? I see lots of 45s. I see a 51. A 53. Ah, 47. There you are. Hiding from me on the Sprew. I kind of want to play guard along with Josh, but I'm not feeling it for the Talon, and I love my Dark Elves. Daughters of Cain and Old World stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. You just do the thing that inspires you. And it's also okay to not do anything. You know, that's the thing. Is there is no pressure other than that of which you put on yourself. And you need to figure out where those external stresses are coming from. And if it's coming all from yourself, then you're putting pressure on yourself for no reason, really, at that point. Will you be doing an alternative colour scheme for your Krugers, or sticking with the scheme you did a few years ago? I've done an alternative scheme. If you head over to my Instagram right now, you can see. My 2025 goal is to only buy stuff for Guard. Also, hello, Carl. I just want to get a cohesive-looking, sexy Guard army together. That's my first goal. My second goal is to then have roughly 2,000 points of where I can essentially make a 2,000 point army of Cadians, Krieg, and tanks. So it might be that we end up with sort of 6,000-ish points, but I don't think we will. I think what I'll end up with is about 5,000 points of 2,000 points of guard, and then 1,500. 2,000 points of tanks, and about 1,500-ish of Krieg and Cadians. Is what I think I'm shooting for at the moment. But as an example, what we're going for at the moment is, so for the Krieg, I'll read it out in a second. The Krieg's collection that I have written down. Oh, I just dropped the bloody arm. Oh, we're never going to find that, are we? Oh. We found it. It didn't go too far. We're all good. So yeah, to finish what I was saying, we are, so the Krieg section, ultimately what I wanted to end up with is 40 infantry, 20 combat engineers, 2 command squads, 10 death riders, Dreer, and then 3 heavy weapons, 3 heavy weapons squads, and 3 artillery teams. Which 20 combat engineers as well. Whereas two of 10 basically is what I'm shooting for. Only 10 riders. Yeah, only the 10. Because there's only one mounted character. Rabbit Squirrel 22 Ben, thank you very much for becoming a member, you absolute legend. You put us on 484. So yeah, so let me read it out. Here's what we're doing. So Death Corps of Krieg, Lord Marshal Dreer, 10 Death Riders. Krieg Command Squad, 20 Death Corps of Krieg. Krieg Command Squad, 20 Death Corps of Krieg. 10 Combat Engineers, 10 Combat Engineers. Artillery Team, Artillery Team, Artillery Team. Krieg Heavy Weapons, Krieg Heavy Weapons, Krieg Heavy Weapons. And then over and on top of that, in order to round that out to 2,500, we have a Rogaldorn Tank Commander, 2 Lehman Russ Battle Tanks, and a Baneblade, and then 2 Basilisks. And that gives us 2,500 points of a Death Corps of Krieg army, as it were. And then when it comes to the Cadians, Astra Militarum, there we go. We have Lord Solar Leontus, 10 Attilan Rough Riders, 20 Cadian Shock Troops, 20 Cadian Shock Troops, Cadian Heavy Weapons Squad, Cadian Heavy Weapons Squad, 3 Field Ordnance Batteries, Ursula Creed, 2 Cadian Castellans, 3 units of Kassakin. That's the plan. Happy to support the best paint and guide channel on YouTube. Oh, that's very kind of you, Rabid Squirrel. I'm super excited for EC and Gimp Mob. Yeah, I mean, The future's looking bright. Do you wish the horse fella made a generic horse commander version? Yes, I do. I think there should be a marshal. The Cadians got the Castellan. The Krieg don't get anything. They get the command squad and Dreer. That's it. So the Krieg should have got a generic character. No Cadian command squads. Sorry, 2 Cadian command squads as well. 2 weeks you can add an Arvus Lighter, Valdor Tank Hunter, and Malcador Infernus to the army. Well, I could, but I can't use them, so I won't. But I'm going to show you. So here's what we're going to. Here's a video that we're going to be doing. I promised I would show this off on camera today. So what we've got so far, there's 2 more Kriegsmen to build, but we'll have to do them at a different time. Oh, camera's complaining about the heat. So we have to move quickly here. So what we're going to be doing is we have all of this stuff that we've done videos for in the past. And what I need to do is I need to generic size it so that we have a cohesive army. Because we don't have one at the moment, and I want one. So I want to change the green. Where's the Krieg paint guide expected to drop? They will be dropping this week. Is when those Krieg painting guides will be dropping. So, what we have, let's do that. And if we go over here, please do a video of a tank, preferably a Bane Blade done in the brown scheme you're doing. Daniel Rhodes, don't you worry about that, my friend. We're already on the way. So overhead. So there we go. So look, there's all the Cadians. So this is what we're talking about. So this one needs finishing completely to be up to scale with this one. These ones which don't have their bases done. So we have our firebrands here. So these are firebrands, which is another one of the regiments there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm missing one. Ah, this one here. 10, right? So we have our firebrands and we have these green. Now I like this green, but I want to change it. I want to change it to the same color as the Krieg green that we've done. So basically what we're going to be doing is there's going to be a video where we're going to finish these, we're going to finish that, and we're also going to genericize this army so that it's all the same color, and that gives us our first infantry section of Cadians there, like that. Now there's only one thing we really need to do to these guys, for example. Well, 2 things that we need to do to these. So there's a video on how I paint this, and we're going to do an update video to this basically, where we're just going to change the green. And we're going to add some Agrax Urshade to darken down the cloves just a little bit. As an example. But that way, we can bring them closer to this, who I've already tested it on. See that green? Looks much better, doesn't it? Do you see what I mean? So that's the plan. So there's going to be a video where we basically fix this. And that's our... That looks way better. Exactly. So I'm going to be fixing this up. And it's literally by doing three things to all of this stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20. That doesn't feel right. 4, 9, Oh yeah, and this one, 10. So, but that's it. So that's what we're going to be doing. To just bring it in line a little bit. What's the lighter green in the top right? If you literally look up 95th Firebrands from me, that's the no, we're not going to clickbait too bad. Because all I need to do is go, for example, on this Castellan, who we did slightly darker anyway. All as I need to do on the Castellan there. Oh God, focus, damn you! All I need to do on that Castellan there is just go in with some Vulcan green on the armor, and he'll be in line with what we want to do. Does that make sense? Whereas on the Guardsmen, I just want to bring that green down a little bit, but all of like the silver and all that stuff. Okay, doesn't want to focus. Ah, there you go. That's our chief medic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Well, so Travis, these have all been done ages ago. I did these back when the Astra Militarum first came out. This was all during, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? But now I want to update them and bring them in line with what we're going to be doing for the Krieg, basically. So it just means that you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. But we'll finish this off, which is, to be fair, isn't that far away from being done, really. And we will finish off these 5 as well, because they need, so basically all the green needs doing across all of them. These guys need black and silver highlights and the green doing. This needs its crew and stuff being painted up, and also all the metallics being done. And then that finishes an infantry section, and that'll look super. It'll look superb. Quick question. Whenever I try contrast paints or similar, I run into an issue where they cover rather poorly, and or even through the applied layer look okay. It turns out patchy. Are you adding water to your contrast paints? Because if so, stop doing it. Don't put contrast paints on a wet palette. Don't put them on a palette and add water to thin them down. Don't do that. Never do that. Yeah, you also want to load the brush up so that it's full of paint, but it's not forming a drip. If it's forming a drip, you've got too much paint. So basically, the whole thing is like if you, I'll see if I can demonstrate this. We'll do with this pot of Agrax Surf Shade, for example. You want to essentially load your brush up to a point where it's full of paint. Like that. Right? That is a full brush. If you have less than that, you'll run out. And if you have more than that, where it starts to form a drip, You see how it's getting bulbous towards the end? That's way too much paint. If I hold that for long enough, it will drip off the brush. What you want is you want the paint to look, you want the brush to look straight almost all the way through. Like that. That's the kind of thing you want. And then when you're applying the paint, don't apply it like a brush, like a base and layer paint. Don't. For example, I don't really have anything. Here. What you don't want to do, for example, on this little base here, don't do this. That's what you get. What you want to do is you want to glide across the surface of the model. Like that. I'll demonstrate it with a heavier contrast. So this is what I see this all the time. This is Eldari Emerald. So if you have too much paint on your brush, like this, and then you overwork it, as Captain Manners said, this is what happens. Ends up looking like that. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to have a nicely loaded brush, like that sort of thing, and you want to glide across the surface of the model. Like that. There's a difference. And if you don't have enough paint on your brush, you get the scratchy finish. But I don't think I have any bases left over. Other than this one. Screw it, we'll just do it here. So, if you don't have enough paint on your brush, right? What ends up happening is this. And then you end up going back for more. And what you'll see is see there? See there's a discoloration, right? So that's darker there than it is there. That's because we now have two layers of it over the top of that. But because you didn't apply enough in the first place, it's already dried. If you just take a small amount of contrast paint like this, like that. 3, 2, 1. That'll be dry. So now, it's darker there than it is there. See what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it's already dried, right? Because I'm rubbing it and it's not coming off. Tell you what, you should do this as a job. Oh, thank you. Maybe I will. Felt tip pen staining is how I've always explained it. It's exactly right, Sam. It's exactly correct. It's like felt tip pens or like highlighter pens if you ever used highlighters to make notes in a book. You know, there's really translucent ones. I'm not sure if you call them. You might call them markers in the States. Anyway, I've just realised the time. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stream, the first of many Militarum Mondays. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We will be back tomorrow with a painting guide. I'm not sure what it will be. Dreer or Basic Kriegsman. It'll be one of the two. We'll be back tomorrow with a painting video, and we'll be back on Wednesday with another live stream. And then Thursday, and then plenty of painting content yet to come. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much, by the way. We had over 100 viewers for much of today, which is amazing. But I simply must leave you now because it's time for me to go and have some dinner. Are we going to raid Liam? You can go and see Liam. If you want to go and see Liam, you can. In fact, you should. You should go and see Liam after this. But I'm going to go and have some dinner now. So I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Love you. Love you, chat. You're the best. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.